Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. The speedrun challenge that we laid down the gauntlet for and a $500 prize for last week has been going strong. And honestly, I've been blown away by the response. Pretty much every day I log into Twitch, there's multiple big streamers playing the challenge, grinding out repetitions and their times. But unfortunately, we ran into a problem very early on. And I didn't want to change anything with the challenge, but eventually I had to. And that problem was this. We're watching Goblins run. Obviously representing Platinum Heroes, a fantastic player that's been grinding away. And he was one of the first, but very quickly, many players followed his meta to basically break the challenge and show that there is one meta that is by far the fastest. And that is to play Protoss, to get 4 Nexus up really early, and then to rush carriers while defending with cannons at the front. And the reason this works so well is cannons only cost minerals, and you can build them all with a single worker, and they build very quickly. Whereas Terran can't build static defense unless they invest in it much earlier, and they invest minerals and gas to get, say, a planetary fortress. Zerg needs to spread creep over there and needs to actually kill one of their workers to build each spine crawler. So the other races of static defense mean they have to invest in that defense a little bit earlier and more heavily. Whereas Protoss is able to basically just build 20 cannons 30 seconds before the attack comes. So from about 420 onwards, you want to start those cannons and then get way out of control. Now, it's kind of cool because there's still a huge amount of optimizations with how to hunt down the AI and make them leave the game. But it does look like Protoss is pretty certain to win the $500 prize at this point. So what we've done is we've thrown down a $100 prize for the next 2 races' best times. So at the moment, $100 for the best Zerg and best Terran. And we're going to give you guys a review on that, as well as, of course, take a look at the optimizations of these build orders, which are making things go really well. Now, I've been studying it. I haven't actually watched this run, but a lot of the other Protoss players, a lot of the cannon rushers like Printef, Boanan, they have come up with some dirty optimizations, and I'm really curious to see if Goblin started doing them, because he was dominating the times without using a lot of these fancy tricks. He was just doing a very efficient cannon defense, getting his carriers, and he's really good at running around and focusing down the enemy's bases so that they can't mine resources. But there's a few things he was missing. He wasn't using a Nexus at the front to mess up the enemy AI when they're attacking into his cannons, so I want to see if he's doing that. He also was accepting the surrenders from the AIs, which the other players weren't, because they said, well, that surrender never times out. It just sits on the side of the screen up here. You'll see them stack up there. If he doesn't accept them, he might keep accepting them. But when you accept that, you actually end up getting the money from the players as well. So there's all these like little fancy optimizations with how to do things that he wasn't using. And I wonder if he's going to change that up and actually start using those in this run, because Puppy Joe actually overtook Goblin's time. I was trying to do this update video 2 days ago, and I was literally doing it live on stream. 5 minutes into the video, Puppy Joe rocks up and says, hey, I just beat his time by 10 seconds. I was like, okay. So hats off to Puppy Joe. Puppy Joe had a whole bunch of cool optimizations in that regard, but Puppy Joe was nowhere near, I would say, the level of throwing away probes to replace with extra carriers, which is what you want to do in the late game once you start getting a big bank. So you want to get up about 4 base economy, and then as you get close to max, you start throwing probes away, because you never really lose carriers. Interceptors are really, really cheap to rebuild, and it's all about just getting as many units across the map as quickly as possible. All right, so you're going to notice here, 4 Nexus. Now, the reason he's built this Nexus at the front on the top left, he's also gone up to 6 gas pretty quickly, is because he wants to be able to battery overcharge. You'll see there the Nexus, its border was just over that shield battery range. And he's also going to build his Stargates on the front, just so the carriers are rallying directly into the fight. So you can see just non-stop probe production. And I've seen a lot of these players get to about 85 probes before the 5-minute mark. So it's insane. The amount of economic growth here is wild. At the moment, there's no units but probes. So if you're wondering what the probe count is, it's 70. And he's doing it. Okay, I knew Goblin would start doing this. The other Protoss players were criticizing him, saying, oh yeah, he's not building the Nexus. Now, the idea with the Nexus, as long as you start it building before the first attack arrives, it'll have enough hit points to absorb a few hits. But what's going to happen is, as units run in, there's always a few melee units that get attacked by the cannon. And you see the units coming, and look, they're going to get stuck behind each other. Oh, the Banelings actually blew up on the Nexus. I was not expecting that. But that's kind of perfect. It had enough hit points to survive it. And you see, he hasn't had to use the battery overcharge just yet. And notice they're ignoring the building cannons. So even the building cannons in the front are blocking the Zerglings from attacking just because of the way the AI works. But, uh-oh, he forgot to save energy for battery overcharge. Oh, no, he uses it at the last second. Okay, I did not realize. He was just saving it for the very last second. I thought he'd messed up there. But he was just waiting until the cannon was in the red. He wanted most of these units to be arriving before he went for that. Now, previously, I saw people defending this with like 15 cannons up at this point. He's only got 5 shooting. He's going up to like 8, 9 cannons. And I think he's realizing, hey, I can just defend with the carriers once they're out. I don't need to be building 20 cannons. And the earlier you get those carriers up into your enemy's base, the better. So I think we're going to see about 3 or 4 carriers start up very quickly. 3 carriers already on the way. Wow. Okay, this is really slick. Now, the bio's a bit of a problem here. But no, the Marauders will run forward. Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, that's interesting. The bio pulling back there, that's really weird. And he's got to get these carriers into their bases as quick as possible. This build is optimized. Now, there's a lot of players out there who've been messaging. I've been getting so many comments in the comment section of the original video. People in Twitch saying, oh, I tried the challenge. I'm in Gold League. It's so much fun. Can't make it past 7 minutes. Or I can't make it past 10, 12 minutes. Every time I just get killed. So it's kind of funny how this challenge for a lot of the people in the lower leagues who are playing has been more of a, not about winning and getting or not about getting the best time, but just about surviving and actually being able to finish and kill all 10 AI. So it's kind of funny. I feel like what's cool is we've all seen the insane, 7 cheater 3 insane AIs. And that's like an impossible holdout challenge essentially, right? But I feel like this challenge has almost become like that, but for low-level players, where it's like, hey guys, you're not going to win the speedrun time, but can you actually finish the challenge? And I think there's a lot of players who are kind of learning how to memorize a build order and improving from doing it. Big shout out, by the way, to Lyra, who actually got is number 3 in overall Protoss times right now, despite being a diamond level Protoss player, who's obviously up against the likes of Goblin and Puppy Joe with way better times. Okay, carriers are coming in. We've got air weapon upgrade number 2, I believe, is now on the way. Looks like 1 cannon did go down. Might have to rebuild that Nexus at some point. A few more cannons going up. And notice that there's a lot of focus fire in the Nexus. There's not many anti-air units this early. So the big advantage of getting in this fast is you'll see that they're sending a lot of their armies over here, but only a few sentries and stalkers can shoot up. And they're really not doing that much. They also prioritize shooting the carriers over the interceptors. So you're going to see they're going to try to run forward to hit the carrier. So you don't even lose very many interceptors in this sort of scenario. Alright, so there's overseers and observers there, building the last few pylons needed to max out the supply. I don't know if he ever takes a 5th Nexus. I'm not sure if he bothers. He's already... Oh, so he's still accepting surrenders. This is interesting. So Goblin... One of the funny things I saw with Puppy Joe is he actually killed the last player and didn't realize it was the last player because his whole right side of the screen was filled with player 2 has surrendered, player 3 has surrendered, and he just was leaving it waiting for the last second, but he lost count and he actually wasted like 10 seconds at the end because of that. Now, you can look at that and say, oh, look at that, killing probes. This is what I was talking about, guys. He's getting close to maxed. So he's just killing probes right now so he can get more carriers. Really, he's so crisp at doing that. Yeah. So, the thing is, by accepting these surrenders, you are giving money to the other players. Now, I think Goblin's philosophy is, I'm killing these guys so fast, they don't have much money. It's a couple hundred minerals and gas. Maybe don't accept some of the later surrenders where they might be floating a little bit, but he's killing them so quickly that I think he's like kind of okay with it. Now, you might wonder, but isn't he leaving those bases kind of occupied where the other players could re-expand there? That's true, but I believe he's going to use his carrier rally point to deal with that. And notice he's already got 10 carriers on the top left, 5 on the right. And look how quickly he is focusing these bases down. He does focus down the cannons and stalkers a little bit every now and then. But mostly it's like, hey, they build a Nexus, he kills it. And I don't think the AI cancels it. And oh my god, he's already got the surrender from the yellow player. Whoa. And this is the power of getting in there so fast. They just don't have much to respond yet. The start for playing Protoss in this challenge was so much more drastic than I ever realized it was, and that's because I just tested Protoss the least, because I was stuck in a holdout mindset of you need splash damage to defend big attacks. I didn't realize you could just defend with cannon battery, have incredibly early carriers, and that they would just smash everything. And he's actually killing all of his own probes on the 4th base, so he's only going to be on about 45, maybe 50 probes left here, and that's fine, because as long as he's just got more carriers coming in, that's going to help clean up in the follow-up. He gets another GG again. Holy crud. Dude. You know, it's so funny because it's so quick. There's not even time to get out like a mothership. I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if you get a mothership so it goes forward, gets in position, you kill 2 bases, and then you recall offensively, you know, into the next base to get in there even faster. But there's just no way. Like, he's so quick across the map. He's not going to have time to set something like that up. He's already eliminating these bases so fast. And you'll just see, look at this. Focus the base, focus the base, focus the base. And each time they rebuild like that, bam, 400 minerals, bam, 400 minerals. And I believe 99% of the time, if they don't have enough money to rebuild a base or workers to rebuild a base, they will tap out. And you can see he gets another GG there. So he's now cleared out 6 players, which means there is, of course, 4 remaining. 2 in the top left, 2 in the top middle. He's still killing his own cannons even at this point. He's got to be careful that they don't rebuild. And that is important, right? If they're rebuilding in these bottom bases next to him, that's what could buy a bit of time. So if I were him, I would split my Stargate rally points to these bases he's already cleared out. But he maybe is feeling like he has so much momentum, that's not even a concern. And he's like, no, I'm just killing their stuff. They don't even have the money to do that. I'm just going to blast in, wipe out their stuff, and go from there. But he does have carriers attacking through the gold base down on the low ground. You can see that on the mini-map. Carriers coming forward up here as well. And dude, the ability for flying units to just bypass everything and just focus commands and his down is wild. It's crazy. Man, I wish Speed Banshees was like faster to upgrade and faster to get, because I would love to see a Speed Banshee run of this challenge. I think they're too fragile. I think you'd lose too many of them. Even though they can speed through and kill bases really quickly. Carrier, like, you don't really need to worry about them dying. So you can split them up in 2-3 places and just charge in over everything. Guys, we're at 12 minutes right now, but these are the last bases. And he's got blue out. He's got to get green out. You notice he's even killing the drones there. He's got carriers sitting over the bases. I don't think he's got rid of this dark green Terran. So it's dark green Terran and slightly lighter green Zerg. They are almost identical shades in my opinion. And this is what I'm talking about with what if they managed to get into one of those bases to rebuild. Wait, no, he got the, I think that was the Terran player out. And now it's the other green Zerg that he's got to get rid of. So he feels like, I'd probably let them rebuild a hatchery somewhere. I'm thinking maybe bottom right side they snuck a drone past. No, he gets it. Wait, who's left? Okay, he gets it. 1240. Was that 1243? Whoa. Which player was that last one to GG, by the way? Oh, it's the Zerg in the top left. So maybe there's some drones hiding there or something. He's killing basically their last buildings. These top 2 left players are often the most stubborn players, but it looks like that one finally GG's. 1244. That is a ridiculous time. That is insane. And for those who don't know, if you guys want to keep up with the times, Goblin #1. We've got a leaderboard we're updating every day, and this is on the original video. So if you guys want to watch the times, definitely just check out that leaderboard. We're updating this every single day right now. All right, so next up is Zerg, and our best Zerg time comes from Hate Me, who is, of course, a very, very good Zerg pro gamer and has been grinding the challenge. I know Katz was the first one to take #1 on the time. He was doing some really cool styles, and we've seen a lot of Lurker play, but Hate Me has taken over since then. Now, what I haven't seen too much of is the mass upgraded Zergling to clear out bases that I thought people would get to, and I think the reason is, by the time you get like Adrenal Zerglings with +3 flooding into bases, people tend to start having like Ultralisks and Widow Mines. There's a few different units that really cause trouble for the Zerglings, and you know, an occasional Archon might zap a whole bunch of them. So I'm really curious to see how Hate Me has evolved it, because his previous run before this one, he went almost pure Hydra Lurker. Defending with Queen Spine at the starts, you always have a slower start than Protoss, but definitely something where that's really interesting. He also was building a lot of Queens early, whereas I know some players are just going like 4 hatchery before pool even, and he was doing hatch pool, then he was getting another 2 hatcheries afterwards. But this time, it looks like he swapped to 3 hatchery before pool, which I do think is the better opening for this challenge. And I can't wait to see exactly how he's adapted it. All right, so it looks like he's going to go for the 4th hatchery here on 21 supply. He's already rallied a drone over to the right, I believe. So it looks like he is going for the 4... Oh, no, he's got a spawning pool, though. Okay, so he's built a spawning. So it's 3 hatcheries, spawning pool, and then the 4th hatchery comes down. Droning pretty much non-stop throughout it as well, and rallying over to this new expansion. So this is a really efficient start. Now, you're going to notice with the early queens, it's not so much about injecting as spreading creep forwards, because he wants to get spines as far forwards on the frontal ridge as possible, so the enemy attacks are attacking from 2 sides, and they don't manage to kind of join up into one big ball. He's building more queens as well. I noticed what I really liked about Hate Me's style, which a lot of other players weren't doing, is he likes to get a pack of queens for transfuse and tanking as well. And he has some really cool moves. I know Katz was actually the original guy who did a really amazing move. When I watched his first run, he actually saw a bunch of banelings coming and he'd always run his queen in front, tank the banelings, and then pull it to the back against the other units. Because the spines are better at tanking against most things because they've got 2 armor. But banelings do, like, literally immensely more damage. They do, like, 4 times more damage, almost 5 times, actually, to a spine crawler because they get bonus versus buildings than they do versus a queen, which isn't a light unit and isn't a building. So the baneling does its base damage, which is really trash. Banelings, of course, are best versus light units and versus buildings. So you'll notice here about 420, all the spine crawlers start up. We're always expecting about 5 minutes. The earliest is I've seen the AI attack is about 4:45. It's when the first AI will trickle in. So you can see as these spines are all going to finish about 4:50, the queens are there to buy time if needed as well. And even builds, yeah, just a ton of that static D. Oh, the queens need to absorb the banelings. That's what we're talking about. So yeah, Hate Me knows all about that. Banelings are deadly for buildings, but he gets in front. I wonder if the Zerg could do a hatchery in front and do this defense a bit further back, kind of like the cannon defense. I haven't seen a Zerg build a hatchery in front of the spines yet. Because remember, if we looked at Goblin's run, the banelings blew up on the Nexus, which was like super inefficient for those Banes. All right, so as these attacks start coming in, you'll see every now and then he does move the queens forward to tank a little bit, but I actually think the spines staying in front's a bit better. The queens tank the Marauders a lot better, but the spines tank the Zealots, the Adepts, and the Marines a lot better with the 2 armor. So it's really interesting that, like, the queens are there for not just transfuse, but also like, hey, when it helps us, we will get out in front. He's gone up to 6 gases. He's now taking 8 gases at the 6-minute mark, as well as a 5th hatchery. And you can see he's at about 70 workers throughout this, because he's got 6 queens, which is 12 supply. We see 84 supply in the top right, so 72 drones right now. And it's harder, you know, the Protoss gets to 85 probes and basically never drops from there. And they get there about 430, 445. But because you're building all these buildings, it's hard. You've got to just keep replacing drones, keep replacing drones. So it is harder to maintain that same level of wealth that the Protoss opening has. And you can see just how this affects the start. Oh my lord, that is a big attack though. Okay, a bunch of spines are going to go down here. I really hate the damaged health bars, man. the team-colored health bars. A lot of the newer generation of players like them. I hate them so much. I really love my old green means high health, orange means middle, red means low health bars. He's also got damaged health bars on, which I love when I'm casting games because it looks great for viewers. But when it comes to actually playing at a high level, I hate it. So Hate Me is one of these new age gamers. I don't think Hate Me's that young. I feel like Hate Me's been around for years. Is using all of what I call the North American pro gamer settings. Obviously, we are always playfully making fun of the North American RTS scene, the peak of Call of Duty esports, North America. Not so much with RTS games. So I never actually knew Hate Me's human name, but it's actually Moritz, guys. He is from Austria, of course. For those who didn't know, I think he's Austria's #1 player, isn't he? He should be. Pretty sure he is. It's been many, many years since Monchi was in action. Monchi, of course, Austria's #1 player. A long, long time ago, way back when. Then had a motorbike accident, unfortunately, and I think it made it so he wasn't able to play. I think it injured his arm. All right, so the lurkers are out here about 8 minutes. All right, so he's gonna start just creeping very carefully, Overlord's Fireground Vision, towards this base. And you can see he's really looking for the efficient engagement here. I don't think he's got the lurker range upgrade yet. And oh, he's gonna lose a lurker. Oh, that's not optimal. A Hydra and a lurker go down. It's not the end of the world, to be fair. You're always gonna lose a lot more units with this than you will with carriers. And he's gonna try and run some lurkers back to the spines as well. Spines are going down. Definitely could be nice to have a lurker a little further forward, but he does hold on reasonably efficiently. Now, I wonder, is he gonna add in anything? And is he just going to wait for the AI to surrender? Or is it just going to be Hydra Lurker? Because one of the problems that I've found a lot of the Zerg players have is they go in with a pack of Hydra Lurker, and at this point, they just start attacking the right side at the same time. And it takes them so long to clean out these left players. And I mean, don't get me wrong, when you go in here, this is going to aggro every other AI to come in and attack you, right? You can see there's this army dripping in. from behind on the minimap, and it's actually his rally's running into it. This is a big mistake for him. Luckily his, oh yeah, that's really bad. So I always set up lurkers on the bottom of that ramp to make, and I definitely wouldn't be rallying the units onto the eggs. See, he's control grouping his army from eggs straight into the production. This is interesting because he's letting himself get attacked from behind, which means the lurker damage is a little bit dispersed. His macro is so good, it seems to be effective nonetheless. I mean, I guess as long as you have a bundle of lurkers, as long as the AI is running into it, the lurkers are going to do pretty well, but I mean, it looked like those lurkers are starting to die. Yeah, he's losing a lot of units. I mean, he's replacing them very quickly, but definitely an awkward situation to be losing so much stuff so early on and not be replacing that. So I don't know. I also question the lack of upgraded Zerglings. Everyone keeps saying, but Ultras come out, but Ultras come out. I don't really see many Ultras before like 13, 14 minutes. And I think the Lings are way quicker for getting in here and finishing these players off. They have much higher damage than just about any other unit per supply. I still think Lurker Hydra is the right way to start though. Don't get me wrong, I would never be able to get as fast a time I think as Hate Me here, unless I practiced a billion runs, and then that just means I've practiced 50,000 times more than him. But his multitasking is really good. So it seems like he just wants to get it on the economy. Usually that's what'll force them out. I'm still waiting for that first surrender though. Notice he didn't finish off either of the players to the bottom left, and he's actually lost all of those armies. So I'm kind of looking at it and going, you know, is that a success? For me, I would never want to lose an entire Hydra Lurker army. I feel like keeping your army alive means those units are on the front line dealing damage. You're not having to wait for the rebuild and the rally to the front time. So my philosophy would be, in theory, I want to find a way to win without ever losing more than 1 or 2 units at a time. I never want to lose more, like 3, 4, 5 units. Like that fight, yeah, just run away. Because you don't have lurkers there. So you don't want to stand and fight. But his Hydras are out front on that left side. He just lost about 30 supply of Hydras there. Oh, that was a really bad fight. Oh, man. I mean, Hate Me's early game is insane. It's so good, the build-up that he got. Like, he's already so far ahead of any run I've possibly had, or any of the other Zergs. But I think those armies getting wasted, it hurts. Because the thing is, he's at a very high worker count as well. So his army is not quite as big as it could be because of this also. And yeah, it's interesting that players aren't leaving packs of lurkers in different positions, because I think that can be massively helpful. So the area I like to leave lurkers like here in like an arc, so the enemy will funnel into this choke point. Now obviously when they come with tanks and the like, it can cause problems. But if you leave like 7 lurkers there and then you attack these 2 bottom bases to the bottom left, I feel like they'll bleed him. I'm gonna have to test this more because I'm throwing out way too much criticism, and Hate Me has done way better than I have. So I'm gonna just hold my horses and we're gonna watch and try and learn some of the other details he's doing. All right, so it looks like he's finally gone back in and he's breaking these bottom 2 left players, and it looks like, okay, there we go. So he's accepting the GGs. All right, interesting. So Hate Me is not holding on for the GGs the way a lot of the Protoss players have been. Puppy Joe, Printf, Boanan, all big fans of that because they don't like the money being shared. But you know what? He's been butchering those players for so long. I can't imagine they have that much money anyway. How much money could they possibly be sitting on? Because he never really killed all of the production. The blue Protoss player maybe being the exception. The orange player had more production up than him. Be interesting to watch the replays and actually see how much money there is that gets distributed, because I think that's really got to influence your decision. Oh, he's mixing Zerglings in, guys. Oh, did he get melee upgrades? Wait, I don't think he got melee upgrades, did he? Now, I've been saying get Zerglings for a while, because especially when all their army gets aggroed into one position, you'll lurk a Hydra Rex it. His Lings, I don't think they have any more than +1 melee. I think he just... Wait, was that Adrenal? Okay, so he's starting Adrenal at 1324. So we just caught it. He does start Adrenal Glands here, but it seems like more of an afterthought than anything else. And I don't know if he has melee upgrades. I feel like those Zerglings would be doing a little bit more damage. Then again, oh, they're doing all right. I think he's at least got +1. He's probably going towards higher upgrades as well. Ooh, okay, yeah. So once he's cracked through and the enemy seem to have dispersed armies, those Lings can do very well. Oh, his lurkers in the top left weren't burrowed. Bit of a mistake for him. Uh oh, there's so much multitasking with this style, but Oh, luckily it was only a small army. The Hydraling was in great enough numbers.
That mineral field's gone. Don't spend it all in one place.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Max supplies. When your units sit around.
Yeah, and you see these little squads of lurkers. Whenever they're holding a choke point like that, I think your efficiency goes up. But also, I think he's just been fighting for so long that the AI is now running out of money. I think that's part of what's happening here. I don't know, did he get the purple player to leave the game? I'm not quite sure. He's got the pink one on the right, but I don't know if he got the purple one. I don't think he did. So he really needs to leave a unit over there to make sure they leave the game. Because he actually lost a unit down there. I think it was just a Zergling, but definitely there's something the AI has there. He's going to build hatcheries to kind of block these bases, just get more production, that sort of stuff. Also allows him to rebuild on the front. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, buddy. Alright, Hydra Lurker smashing in on all sides right now. Alright, so people were asking, what if the patch drops before the 25th when the challenge is due? We're just going to continue, guys. Maybe the Hydras get slightly better micro ability and a tiny bit of a move speed upgrade off creep. Move speed boost off creep. I don't think it's going to be completely game-changing either way. So it may help the Zergs just a tiny bit, of course. If you guys think it'll be more advantageous pre-patch, grind your games now. And if the patch does drop and you think that'll help you, grind a lot of games post-patch as well. But the speedrun will continue either way, as there's no easy way to swap between versions on the map. So that's just going to make it nice and simple. He's actually cracking through. The Ling reinforce, you'll notice, as you get to the other side of the map, is essential. Rallying just Hydras at this point takes far too long. And now he's cracking into 6 bases at once, right? 2 in the top left, a very small army there. But these armies are so small, even though they're trading okay, I gotta say, yeah, get some more Lings up there and you'll be able to smash. And he seems to be doing just that. Constant Ling production across this map right now. Lurkers, Lings, Hydras cracking through. So we're coming up on 17 minutes. And he really needs to get a move on with finishing these last players off. But look, because it's so late, there's even Broodlords. He doesn't have many Hydras up there. Definitely should change his overall rally points to the top of the map so that his units aren't just clumping up at home. Now, one of the things you're noticing is he's done a great job of keeping his money low. I think the optimization that he can add to this is just not lose those early armies as hard. Set them up in better positions with bigger chunks of lurkers. Be a little bit more patient with splitting your army up and spreading it out to kill the opponent, just so you don't lose those armies as hard. And if you're more efficient, I think you can lower your worker count. Because I still think he's at 70 workers, maybe 65. And I think if you can be more efficient, you can probably drop your army, your worker count by about 20, raise your army supply by about 20, 30 army supply as a result of that, by replacing those workers with more army. And that, plus keeping more units on the front line, rather than having all of this supply constantly rallying from home across the map, should, in theory, allow you to simply kill everything the AI is sending at you faster and clear out their bases quicker. Easier said than done, but in theory, that's what I'd be focusing on right now is Hate Me. And it's really inspiring me to try another Zerg run as well, because I think this just looks like so much fun and quite a challenge. And indeed, he was only on +1 melee. Just catching that, guys. We just saw him select an Evo chamber. Now, he doesn't control group his Evo chambers. And indeed, he was only on +1 melee this whole time. Ah, see, this is definitely a 3rd Evo chamber earlier, and adding that in to get the melee, I think is a no-brainer. I mean, you could look at these Zerg and be like, they're okay, Pig. They're not doing that much. Imagine if they had +3. That's huge. And because it scales so much with adrenal glands, which gives you +40% attack speed as well. So each attack upgrade gives you way more than an attack upgrade gives for any other unit in the game. So it's really just being cleanup crew for the last minute or two. I really feel like, once again, I mean, I know I'm a broken record, but those +3 Zerglings being in here earlier would have been absolutely mint. Funnily enough, we haven't seen too many Ultralisks, but maybe that's just because they've been dying to the lurkers off screen. Ultras usually are a real big problem. You think you've got 60 Zerglings killing a base, one Ultra pops out and kills all 60 Zerglings, and you're like, oh, seriously, man? The AI, sometimes they don't upgrade their units very much at all. Other times you're like, oh, you actually have 2/2 in chitinous plating. These Ultras will not die. Oh, yep, got to make sure he doesn't let any bases go. I like the hatcheries that he took just because it kind of scouts all those bases, makes sure, you know, there's no rebuilding going on there. The dark blue base there, that is got to be one of the biggest things, yeah. Okay, and I think the gray player in the top left as well. Yeah, he's making sure all these bases aren't there. There's still a bunch of spines in the top left, which I think might keep that player in there. Dark green has some spines as well. Okay, so we got rid of the dark blue player in the bottom left. Teal in the top right's gone, which means I think we still have just green and gray. Green in the far right, gray. Oh, there we go. Okay, 20 minutes, 36 seconds. Zerg. Well done, Hate Me. His opening is so tight, but I really do think he's got a very good chance of improving on that time with just a few small adjustments here and there. All right, now let's go take a look at Hero Marine. Terran is wide open at the moment. For those of you who look at the scoreboard, you'll notice that Practice X still has the top time at 27 minutes, and that's because he's the only person that has submitted a time as Terran. Terran players are so self-hating. I've seen Jason play Terran tons of times, Hero Marine tons of times. Not a single one has actually submitted a time to the form just yet. And I'm like, come on, Terrans, go. But they are streaming it. They are out there playing it and improving their times. I know Jason gave up on Terran and started trying to grind Protoss, but I think he's a bit too far off getting Goblin's time, so he's kind of eased off the challenge. He's been a bit demotivated because Goblin was just so far ahead of the curve on figuring out how to optimize it. But Hero Marine has actually been grinding, and one of his first runs, he got like 22, 23 minutes, something like that. And I know his fans are like, whoa, what the hell? He already beat the best Terran time with his first go. Like, crazy, man. And people were asking me in his chat just earlier today. I hopped in there, and he's playing it literally as I record this video. And they're like, what's the best time? And I'm like, well, Terran players apparently don't know how to submit time, so I'm pretty sure whatever Hero Marine's best is. And people have recommended me right here. This here is the new best Terran time. He hasn't submitted it yet, but it's on stream, so it's just a formality at this point. And let's see how he optimizes the build order. Now, I was a big fan of tanks into Mass Marine clearing out the bases, but you run into the odd fungal growth, Widow Mine, a few other things, and those Marines do get slaughtered. And it's hard to rally them across the map. You know what? You don't have to rally across the map, though. Battle Cruisers. So Battle Cruisers has become the big meta. A lot of players were optimizing it for quite a few days, and then Hero Marine hopped on it a few days ago and has just ran away with the challenge. He's going 3 command center before barracks. That's interesting. Now, people are trying to get Planetary up to defend. I was a big fan of just like get a few tanks. They're really, you know, tanks are pretty slick, but the Planetary can just tank so much that it is a really good one. I would like to see some more buildings in front of the Planetary to bug out the AI, though. I think putting buildings in front, whether a hatchery in front of Spine Crawl is the Nexus. Only the Protoss players are using it a lot. They just plop the Nexus down. But I want to see an extra command center or 2 engineering bays, like creating a choke point in front of the Planetary. No one's done that yet, but I haven't watched this run. So maybe Hero Marine's about to push it forward. Now, because Hero Marine commentates a lot, I'm gonna turn him up so you guys can hear him, but we're gonna speak over each other a bit, so be warned. So he started the command center at about 3 minutes, even before his factory at the front. So it's essentially 4 command centers before the factory goes down. And he's going to be morphing that into a Planetary at about 4 minutes 10. So it should finish just in time for the 5-minute attack. He might need to repair it a little bit before it finishes. Okay, guys, he's actually going to land his barracks in front of his Planetary to block a little bit. So I like that he is doing that. And he's building a tank behind it, which is very important because the Planetary has good damage. But getting a few tanks behind it massively amplifies things. Okay, so funnily enough, guys, he doesn't want to pull... So many players had to keep pulling workers to repair their Planetaries. Notice he's not panicking. He takes a lot of Baneling hits there, which is really nasty. You can see if he got his tank out in time, maybe he could have ran it in front of the Planetary, tanks and Banelings, pulled it back. Or if he had buildings in front, he might have been able to kill a lot of those Banelings before they connected. But notice he's just building his repairing SCVs from the Planetary itself. And that honestly seems too greedy, but... Okay, the tank's taking aggro, and that actually clumps up the units a bit, which is pretty good. He's got to be careful because the splash damage will hurt the Planetary as well when those units are up against it. Now, the painful thing playing this challenge with Terran, even though you get amazing efficient defense with that Planetary and the tank, it's the fact is that your worker production sucks.
Yeah, this is already a reset in that regard because it's
Okay, Planetary and tanks are there. So yeah, like it really is just difficult knowing how much slower your work is built. Unfortunately, the enemy focus is repairing SCVs. Oh god, if he loses the Planetary, he's screwed. This is a very nice edge opening. I've noticed with the Terran players, they do seem to be regaming a bit more than the other races. Zerg seems very consistent in their openings with their defense. Protoss are cutting it so fine at the moment with how just detail-oriented and how efficient their openings have gotten. They are starting to regame a bit more because they're just like, oh, it was 10 seconds off on my early cannons, or 3 seconds off, or the enemy attack came 15 seconds earlier than normal. I got unlucky strategies on the AI that were nearby me, and therefore I got overwhelmed. So it's just fascinating to see this, the differences, and I still feel like Terran is the most fragile in the opening, even though you'd think with a planetary fortress they're rock solid.
7 minutes roughly. That's not a good time.
So he says, look, I'm starting all my first BCs at just before 7 minutes. That's not really a very good time. He's been very critical of himself already. I think he was already saying, look, the first attack already killed a few of my SCVs that were repairing. Like, I don't really think this is a good run so far. So he's not happy with how things have gone, but that is, of course, Hero Marine in general, right? And his very realistic yet critical view on his own StarCraft and his opponent's StarCraft play a lot of the time. So those SCVs repairing, he's got these like little depots blocking up front. Yeah, I think engineering bay is up front. Putting the planetary a bit further back might be the play. Might be. But, I mean, the units do clump up on the ramp a fair bit here, so I could be wrong on that. He's building some missile turrets just in case some air harass comes in, I guess, and not to mention the drops on the overlords and observers will fly through and get themselves killed. So I guess he knows they'll just get some efficiency no matter what. But BCs are amazing. Now, he's only got one armory. I imagine he's going attack upgrades just so they kill stuff faster. And he's going to wait for a few more BCs before he goes in. So, okay, so 4 BCs he's going in with. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, and he's rallying to the other side of the other ones. And he's even going to teleport in. Okay, so he's going to fly over and take out the queens and the spores. Does take a fair bit of damage on those BCs. And he's going to try and drive around. Now, a lot of players have been focusing drones and bases and trying to run away with the BCs from the direct fight on the army. Oh, he eats a corrosive pile on all the BCs. That hurts. Hydra's in decent numbers there as well. And one of the BCs is already deep in the red. He's only going single armory. He doesn't feel he can afford the double upgrades. He's like, no, I just want to, you know, just get more BCs up first. Maybe add the armor upgrade later. For now, it's just non-stop BC production. And it looks like that lair will be going down. And more BC is going to be rallying out soon. He's going to finish maxing out on depots in a moment. And these BCs getting very low. Now, I've seen some players teleport BCs home to repair. Oh! Because Terran tends to play a much lower amount of economy game. He's actually just going to drop mules to repair. Okay. That makes sense. So those mules are going to try and repair. You want to not move the BCs too much, just so that the mules are actually able to repair them up. And he's already got a surrender. And Hero Marine also accepting surrenders. So it seems like there was a few days there where everybody was not accepting surrenders, but at this point, all of the top time players are back to accepting the surrender of the AIs. The meta is shifting back and forwards, and it's cool to see.
Like, I want to kill this guy, and then I'm going to reposition myself.
Not enough mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals.
So these BCs have teleported in the bottom left now. So now he's got like a squad of 4 BCs, the initial ones on the top, and then he's got these 5 BCs on the left that are butchering these guys. And what's cool about this is those first 4 BCs really struggle. Is he teleporting 2 BCs to the back? Oh, he's already teleporting into the back base. That's very cool. Uh-oh, the Void Ray. Void Rays are an absolute predator on the BCs. You've got to focus Void Rays and Corruptors down faster than anything else. They do so much damage. There's a Corruptor shooting those guys as well. He does get another surrender here, but he's very busy microing. And those other 2 BCs he teleported in the back. So he wants to split up the AI armies, because at the moment they're conglomerating. He also wants to be able to always be in the economy. Oh no, he's going to lose a BC. Okay, he's got Yamato up. He's Yamatoing those. Those mules are going to start repairing. The BCs in the back are doing pretty good damage. They're starting to pick off stuff. And he's actually going to focus the hatchery, interestingly. I really thought he'd focus the workers, but it feels like following the same thing that Goblins figured out, which is just focus down the bases, seems to work. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that was the pink, the kind of pink player. Okay, I thought that was gray for a moment. I think that's the player on the far right of the map. That was interesting. I thought it was a player in the top giving up after he killed one hatchery. I was like, what? But no, that's like a dark gray. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, man. Okay, 5 more BCs teleporting the back. So you know what? This is fascinating. It was taking so long to kill with the BCs in the earlier runs I saw. But the way he's just teleporting the new ones deeper in, it fights against the normal urge to concentrate your firepower. And instead he's splitting it up. And as he splits up his BCs, he also splits up the enemy units that are responding to it. He's trying to drop mules and you know, build stuff in all the different places. Oh, okay. Man, that BC squad's been basically cleared out, which is definitely an issue. Normally at this point I'd say, hey, it's time to throw away SCVs to get more supply, but he's losing BCs quick enough and he doesn't have the gas bank. So maybe he could optimize this build by taking a 5th base worth of gas. I actually think he definitely could have. Now he's going to keep on teleporting BCs forward as much as he can. Man, he's really butchering them. So I think he's killed the 4 players next to himself, which means there's still 6 players left, but all 6 of those players seem to have been relatively hamstrung. Like, they've taken pretty big economic damage. Mules there, a fungal landing doing a bit of damage. Only 30 hit points, but it hits 5 BCs. 30 times 5 is a fair bit of damage from that fungal. It all stacks up. And he's just trying to clear these bases out. The triple warp prism, the AI doing some intelligent builds as always. Accidentally has a Viking. I don't think he's too happy with that. Not what he needs right now. Notice how he's clicking the Nexus, but then he's also clicking past it, so they like run to a new base. So he's kind of just trying to make sure his BCs are going after the most optimal targets over and over again. And that's easier said than done. The multitasking here is not something I can emulate. Like, looking at the way he's doing it, I didn't think this challenge would involve so much multitasking, but trying to get rid of the AI so quickly, you can see the immense amount of skill.
I'm so confused, I don't know what's going on.
Being showcased. He says, I'm so confused at what's going on right now. Even Hero Marine's getting overloaded, managing 3 or 4 battlecruiser fights, rallying units to the front, trying to add more mules at home and scanning and just keeping units constantly in the action. This is wild. He's even throwing SCVs away, so he's going to start doing that finally. Dude, it's only 13 minutes. The pace he's playing at makes me feel like a lot more time's going by than it is. Okay, now he's struggling to get these last players out of the game. Don't get me wrong, their economies are getting butchered, and each time he gets in on a worker line, takes out these command centers that are mining, he's lowering the amount of money they have, the amount of money they're mining, the amount they can rebuild. So it's definitely stacking up, even though he's not getting the GGs. And I think that's the important thing. Are you in bases killing vast numbers of units? And most importantly, the miners and the command centers. As long as you're doing that, you're winning the game. Oh, he puts the mules on auto repair. A Reaper grenade just bounced them away from the PCs. The AI just Reaper grenaded the mules off repairing. That's so sick. AI with the big brain plays.
Not enough minerals.
Man, these BCs are very damaged. Hero Marine, he's still on cleanup crew, and it's just kind of crazy because early on, it was just crushing through players, and as it goes on, it's like there's Vikings, Void Rays, way more turrets, Marines, Stalkers coming in. The units all have upgrades as well. He's got +2 ship weapons, but he doesn't have armor or +3. And you can see that as much as that was a smart idea, prioritizing just getting the BCs across the map in there, as many BCs as possible do the damage, he's also started to take more damage from all these different run-throughs. Now, obviously making sure these players don't rebuild too far. Looks like he never got rid of the orange guy in the bottom left, so he's clearing that one out. Yellow is finally giving up here. No doubt he'll accept that one in a moment, but he's really just trying to prioritize getting them out of the game. And he's damaged them, but he hasn't really committed enough to properly hamstring them just yet. He's thinking about where to teleport. You can tell he's really trying to prioritize that. And he ends up going top center to try and finish that green player out of the game. Mutas coming in there. That BC will eventually beat those 2 mutas and the Hydra and the Queen. Not without cost, though. Oh, he got yellow out. And he's got dark green out over here as well. I think teal's still in the game. I think dark blue's still in the game. I think the dark gray is still in the game as well. So there's at least 3, maybe 4 players. Oh, okay. It's part of why teal's still in the game there. He's like, dude, do you even have a base? They've re-expanded down there. if the purple and pink bases have been repopulated with different players on the far right side, that could buy a lot of time for the AI, where he's going to be like, whoa, where are you, dude? Orange went down. Okay, is it just teal? I think it's just teal. No, there's one left. Two left.
Two guys? Wait, what?
Wait, what? Yeah, this is how it goes. I really think that they've rebuilt in the pink and purple base on the right side. He's got BCs going there now. I think he's going to find a base in the back of one of those bases rebuilt. No, not yet. Looking at the minimap, there's only dead players there. Now, sometimes you just need to kill their last drones. If they have any money, they might be sending a drone to rebuild a hatchery in the bottom. Wait, the bottom gold base. Bottom left side, gold bases. Oh, and even there, actually, they rebuilt right there. Dude, this could have been like a 16-minute time. You can see the potential with this run. He finally gets dark green out, and oh my god, he teleports every BC here. If that doesn't go down, he's going to be triggered.
Wow.
Okay, guys, that was like 1656 or something like that.
The teleport. I should have used teleport earlier. Wow.
He says, I should have used teleport earlier. Wow.
Oh. Teleport is the way to go, I guess.
That was really sick, though. Obviously, I was watching his stream after this. He hasn't been able to beat this time just yet. 1657 is what he wrote. I think it might be a little faster than that, actually. 1655 or 56. But he was saying one of the big variables that he's found, and he's complaining about, because he's been playing for hours since then in today's live stream after this run, was the number of void rays. He said the more void rays, they do so much damage, and it really kills his BCs too quickly. So one of the variables he's found is if he can kill Protoss players earlier, or just have them not build as many void rays with whatever build they randomly get selected, it allows his run to speed up. But anytime there's a lot of void rays getting built, his BCs just keep dropping like flies, because he splits his BCs up so much into small numbers where void rays just absolutely rock him. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this update on the speedrun. I still feel like Zerg is wide open for high-level players out there to claim that $100. I think Hate Me is going to probably shave 2 to 3 minutes off in the next few days if he keeps grinding. But I think that's still wide open. Protoss obviously has an incredibly competitive time, but I still think Goblin's going to continue to improve on that, and I'm looking forward to it as every other player takes him on. I know that Uthermal, there have been theories, people have said that he actually did manage to get a 16 minutes and something time, but I don't know if that was with Protoss or with Terran. And he hasn't submitted the time or streamed it. He's hiding his builds and only doing them off stream. So I think a Uthermal's probably going to wait to the last few days before the submission deadline and then start dropping heaps of them and trying to really break the meta and show his secrets only at the last second. So Uthermal's being really sneaky, but if he's going for the Terran time, he's got to be careful, because Hero Marine's having a lot of fun with this challenge. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know how your runs have gone with the challenge. As always, get in there, try it out. If for whatever reason you aren't able to stream on Twitch, you can stream on any other website. That is fine for it to be counted as a submission. And if anyone does actually end up getting a championship time, if you can beat the top times, but for whatever reason you can only record it locally in a video, make sure you show the game, all that sort of stuff. Try to record it. If you do end up getting the best time, just contact me about it, and I'll see if we can make sure we can authenticate that you did the challenge properly and do it. But for now, that's not guaranteed, so please try to live stream it, even if it's in lower quality, on Twitch, YouTube, wherever you can. Get your submissions in. I'm looking forward to hearing more people of low level who are finally getting their own benchmarks. Like, I survived for 10 minutes, I survived 12 minutes. And we've had a lot of diamond players start to get very competitive times, which is really cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.